Ladies and gentlemen, you know we live in a time where everybody's talking. People love to post, tweet, declare, proclaim, and promise the moon and stars. I'm going to do this, just wait till I get my breakthrough. Oh, God's about to do something big in my life. And listen, I'm not trying to crush your faith or steal your hope, but some of us have been about to for 10 years. At some point, you've got to stop talking and start walking. You can talk about the mountain all day long, but it won't move until you put one foot in front of the other and start climbing. See, some of us are sitting around waiting on God to do something miraculous, but God is waiting on us to get up and move. We keep saying, God, use me, but we won't even get off the couch. God, open doors. Well, he can't open doors you're not willing to walk up to. Promises are easy. Oh, anybody can make a promise. You can promise to change, promise to grow, promise to be better, but talk is cheap. Talk doesn't build character. Talk doesn't produce results. It's walking out the truth in your everyday, ordinary life that brings transformation. Jesus didn't say, make promises and follow me. He said, take up your cross and follow me. That's action. That's movement. That's commitment. That means getting up when you don't feel like it. That means obeying when it's inconvenient. That means being faithful when nobody's clapping, nobody's cheering, and nobody's posting about it online. Can you keep walking then? There's a whole lot of people with big dreams and bold declarations who never move an inch. But let me tell you something. The blessing is in the doing. Not in the declaring, not just in believing, but in acting on that belief. You don't get to where God's calling you by sitting still. You get there step by step, obedience by obedience, moment by moment. We get so caught up in telling people what we're going to do, trying to impress them with our vision, but God isn't looking for lip service, he's looking for fruit. And fruit doesn't come from good intentions, it comes from obedience. It comes from faith that's been walked out in the fire, let's be real. Some of us are addicted to the idea of change, but allergic to the process. We love the sound of the promise, but don't want to push through the pain it takes to live it out. But honey, the promise means nothing if there's no proof, and proof only comes when you do the work. So if you've been saying, I'm going to get it together, then go ahead and get it together. If you've been telling people, I'm going to start that business, write that book, fix that relationship, then stop talking about it and start doing it. You don't have to post it, prove it. You don't need to announce it, live it. And don't get discouraged if it feels slow. Walking takes time. But I'd rather see you taking tiny steps forward in silence than shouting grand promises while standing still. God doesn't need your hype. He wants your heart. He wants your hands. He wants your feet moving in the right direction, even if it's just one step at a time. And can we talk about discipline for a second? Because sometimes it's not that we don't know what to do. It's that we don't want to do the hard thing. We want the results without the routine. We want the glory without the grind. But discipline is where the proof starts showing up. It's in the mundane, unglamorous, behind-the-scenes faithfulness that real change is birthed. God's not impressed by how loud you can shout. He's looking for the one who keeps showing up. Day in, day out. No spotlight, no fanfare, just quiet obedience. That's where the oil flows. That's where the power is. That's where the breakthrough happens. Not in the promise, but in the proof. And listen, if nobody else sees it, God sees it. Every small step, every sacrifice, every time you choose to walk instead of just talk, he sees it. Now let's talk about something that might step on a few toes. Faith without follow-through. Because we've got a whole lot of folks walking around saying, I've got faith, I believe, I trust God. But if you really believe God, if you really trust him, then where's the action that backs it up? The Bible doesn't just say that faith is nice to have. It says faith without works is dead. Not sick, not weak, not having a bad day. Dead. That means useless, lifeless, powerless. And I don't know about you, but I don't want dead faith. I want living, breathing, mountain moving, devil chasing, water walking kind of faith. And that kind of faith moves. We love to say things like, I'm waiting on God. But can I be honest with you? Sometimes it's not about waiting on God. It's about God waiting on you. You say you believe he's your provider, but you won't apply for the job. You say you trust him to heal your relationships, but you refuse to forgive. You say he's called you to something greater, but you keep sitting in the same place doing the same thing year after year, afraid to take a single step. Real faith doesn't just sit there with arms folded, waiting for heaven to drop a blessing out of the sky. Real faith moves, it prepares. It acts like God is going to do what he said, even before it sees it. That's what follow through looks like. Not just hearing the word on Sunday, but living it out Monday through Saturday. It's easy to shout amen when the preacher says you're called. But it's a whole different story to get up early, stay disciplined, and follow through on that call when nobody's watching. It's easy to say, I believe in God's plan for my life, but are you aligning your habits with that plan? Are you making decisions that reflect that belief? Because faith isn't just about what you say, it's about what you do after you say it. It's not just saying, I trust God with your lips, but trusting him with your schedule, your bank account, your choices, your attitude. It's about living in such a way that if someone watched your life on mute without hearing a single word, they'd still know who you serve. We're good at intentions. We're even better at declarations. But God is looking for follow through. He wants to know, will you keep going when it gets tough? Will you show up when it's inconvenient? Will you obey when it's uncomfortable? Some of us are frustrated because our faith isn't producing fruit, but we haven't watered what we planted. We said the prayer, we made the declaration, but we didn't follow through with action. Listen to me. Faith is not magic. It's not about making a wish and waiting for a miracle. Faith is a seed, and seeds require work. You've got to plant it, water it, protect it, and nurture it. That's follow through. Think about the woman with the issue of blood. She didn't just believe Jesus could heal her. She pushed through the crowd to touch the hem of his garment. That's faith with follow through. What about Peter stepping out of the boat? He didn't just believe Jesus could hold him up. He actually put his foot on the water. That's follow through. You can't expect resurrection if you're not willing to roll away the stone. God does the miracle, yes, but you've got to move the stone. That's your part. That's your follow through. And don't get confused, follow through doesn't mean perfection. It just means obedience, progress, effort. It means you don't just nod your head when you hear a good word. You go home and live it. You put your hand to the plow and you don't look back. You make the call. You take the class. You write the plan. You show up again and again, even when you don't feel like it. We need more people with do it faith, not just dream it faith, not just say it faith, but do it faith. The kind that shows up when the emotions wear off, the kind that makes decisions when no one is clapping, the kind that's not looking for applause but aiming for obedience. That's the kind of faith that opens doors. That's the kind of faith God honors. That's the kind of faith that actually brings change. We've got a real problem in this world today. Everybody's impressed with charisma. We like the shiny, the exciting, the loud, and the magnetic. The person who walks into a room and turns heads. But let me tell you something. Charisma might get attention, but consistency keeps trust. Charisma can open a door, sure, but only consistency keeps you in the room. You don't build a solid life off of sparks and fireworks. You build it off bricks and mortar, day in, day out, showing up when nobody's looking, doing the right thing when it's not glamorous, when it's not Instagrammable, and when it feels like no one even cares. That's where character is forged. It's where true strength is born. You see people out here chasing platforms, chasing applause. They want to go viral. They want followers. But let me ask you this. Can you be faithful in private before God ever trusts you with influence in public? Because God is not impressed by how well you can perform. He's watching to see if you can persevere. There's a lot of noise out there, and a lot of people know how to make noise. They know how to stir emotions, say the right thing, dress the part, act the part. But if you look closer, no roots, no stability. Because it's easy to look good for a moment. It's easy to shine when the lights are on. But can you glow in the dark? Can you be faithful when it's hard, when it's dry, when it's silent? Some people will choose a flashy personality over a faithful soul every time, but not God. He's looking for consistency, that daily, humble, steady obedience, that I'm going to pray even if I don't feel goosebumps, obedience. That I'll keep showing up even though no one notices kind of consistency. Listen, the enemy doesn't care how gifted you are if you don't have discipline. He doesn't care how anointed you sound on Sunday if you can't live with integrity on Monday. Gifts will get you seen, but only consistency will keep you standing. People come to me all the time asking, how do I fulfill my purpose? And I want to say, are you willing to do the boring stuff? Are you willing to stay in the Word, to pray when it feels dry, to love people when they're not loving you back, to get up early and do the work, to stay when it's easier to quit? That's the difference between charisma and consistency. Charisma makes people look at you. Consistency makes people depend on you. Trust is never built in a moment. It's built over time. It's built when you keep your word, when you show up, when you don't let your emotions run the show, when you keep going when it would be easier to sit down and quit. Some of us are tired because we've been trying to be impressive instead of consistent. You don't have to sparkle all the time. You just have to show up, keep walking, keep doing the next right thing. That's how real strength is built. Remember David? He didn't become a giant killer overnight. Before he ever stood before Goliath, he was out in the field taking care of sheep. Smelly, forgotten, hidden, consistent. He was killing lions and bears when nobody was watching. Honing his skills, building his courage day after day. So when the moment came, he didn't have to fake it. He was ready. Why? Because consistency had prepared him. You don't need to be the loudest. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to win everyone over with your charm. Just be dependable, be steady, be faithful in the small things. The world celebrates the fast rise, but God honors the long walk. That slow, faithful journey of becoming who He made you to be. If you want to grow, stop waiting for a magical breakthrough and start mastering daily obedience. Start doing what you said you'd do. Start building that thing, writing that thing, learning that thing. Not once, not when the mood strikes, not when the stars align, but every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it's not cute. Because consistency beats charisma every time. You don't have to carry a Bible under your arm the size of a suitcase to prove you love Jesus. You don't have to quote 42 scriptures or have a fish sticker on your bumper or wear a shirt that says blessed and highly favored in glitter letters. Those things might look good, but let me tell you, none of that means a thing if your life doesn't line up with what your mouth is saying. We've got a lot of people who know how to talk church. They know how to shout hallelujah at the right time. They know how to look the part, and they know how to say all the right things on Sunday. But Monday through Saturday, a whole different story. Now let me just say it plainly. If people have to dig through your attitude, your behavior, and your choices just to find a trace of Jesus, then something's off. Your life should preach louder than your lips ever will. When people look at you, they should be able to see something different. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. Because you're loving when it's hard. Because you're kind when it's not deserved. Because you show grace, patience, and self-control. Not just when you feel like it, but even when you don't. Listen, anyone can say God is good when everything's going right. But when the bills are piling up, when people are treating you wrong, when you're waiting on a breakthrough and it feels like nothing's moving, can you still walk in peace? Can you still treat people with respect? Can you still speak life when you feel drained, dry? That's where the real sermon starts. Some of us need to stop trying to convince people with words and start convicting them with lifestyle. You want to reach your coworkers? Be excellent in your work. Be honest, be dependable, show up on time. Be the one who doesn't gossip at lunch. Don't shove Jesus down their throat. Just let Him shine through your actions. They'll come. Ask what's different about you. And when they do, that's your opening, not because you forced it, but because your life made them curious about your God. We are walking billboards for the faith we claim. People are watching how we handle conflict, how we respond to stress, how we treat those who can't do anything for us in return. The question isn't just what do you believe? The real question is, does your life prove what you say you believe? There are some people who will never step foot in a church. They won't listen to a preacher, they've been hurt, they've been burned, or maybe they just don't trust it. But they will listen to you if your life is preaching something real. Not religion, not performance, but truth, grace, love, power, peace. They are looking for someone who actually lives what they talk about. Don't underestimate the power of small moments. Smiling at a cashier, letting someone go ahead of you in line, offering help without needing recognition, forgiving someone who didn't say sorry. That's where your sermon is preached. Not with a mic, but with a life. And can I say something hard? If your family can't see Christ in you, then your sermon's not finished yet. If your spouse sees one version of you at home and another one at church, that's not a sermon, that's a script. If your kids are growing up confused about what love and patience really look like, then it's time to get real. Because the people closest to you should get the best of your walk with God, not the leftovers. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. Some of the strongest sermons are quiet. They're lived out in integrity, in sacrifice, in self-control, in humility, in keeping your word, in showing up when it's hard. That kind of sermon never goes out of style, it never stops speaking, and it never needs a microphone. You can't fake the fruit of the Spirit. You can fake a smile. You can fake a churchy attitude. But the real fruit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, that stuff takes root. That stuff comes from walking with God daily, not just talking about Him occasionally. People are tired of words. They've heard 1,000 promises. They've seen too many people say one thing and do another. What they're looking for is proof. And the most powerful proof of your faith is a life that quietly, steadily, unshakably reflects the love of God in every area, whether anyone is watching or not. Let's just be honest. We're really good at making big declarations. This is my year. I'm going to get serious about my calling. This time, I'm going all in. We've got planners, vision boards, journals, apps, sticky notes on the mirror, all filled with resolutions. But can I just say it plain? God isn't impressed with your declarations. He's looking for your demonstration. He's not moved by your wish list. He's watching your walk. God honors results, not just good intentions. It's not that dreaming is bad. Dreaming is important. Hope is beautiful. Vision is necessary. But vision without discipline is just a fantasy. You can write it down, declare it out loud, and post it on social media, but if there's no action behind it, it's just noise. It's a resolution. And resolutions don't change your life, results do. You know how many people say, I'm going to get closer to God this year, but never open their Bible. I'm going to get my finances in order, but still spend like money's growing on trees. I'm going to finally step into my calling, but won't take the first step. Saying it is one thing. Sowing into it is another. We treat God like He's just going to swoop in and do all the work. Like if we say the right prayer, everything will fall into place overnight. But God is not a genie, and He's not your life coach. He's your creator, your king, and your father. And He's not asking for your hype. He's asking for your obedience. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. That means God isn't handing out blessings to people who just talk a good game. He's looking for people who will be faithful over the little things, people who follow through, people who take what He's given them and multiply it. And results don't always look big. Some of us think if it doesn't make headlines, it doesn't matter. But results aren't always flashy. Sometimes results look like healing a broken relationship, choosing forgiveness instead of revenge, getting up early to pray when you'd rather sleep, saying no to something tempting because you know it's not part of God's plan. That's fruit. That's growth. That's what God honors. Some of us love the excitement of starting, new ideas, new goals, new projects. We get that little dopamine hit every time we say, I'm going to do this. But God isn't giving out rewards for what you intended to do. He's watching what you actually do. He's not keeping track of how many times you almost obeyed. He's looking for completion. He's looking for follow-through. Because intentions might feel good in the moment, but it's the follow-through that builds trust, that builds character, that brings favor. And I'll tell you what else, results require consistency, not just intensity. You can't do it once and expect transformation. You can't go to church twice, read 2 chapters of Proverbs, and expect your whole life to shift. God doesn't honor microwave faith. He honors the slow-cooked, faithful daily obedience that says, even when I don't see it, I'm going to keep doing what's right. You say you want to be financially blessed, that's great, but are you stewarding what you already have with wisdom? You say you want to lead, wonderful, but are you serving right now with humility? You say you want a healthy marriage, a peaceful home, a stronger prayer life. Are you showing up every day, doing the work even when it's not convenient? God is not impressed by how loud your resolution sounds in January. He's watching to see what fruit is on your tree in June or in October or in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon when no one's clapping and you feel like quitting, but you keep going anyway. That's what moves his heart. That's what gets his attention. It's not about being perfect. It's about being progressing. You might stumble, you might fall, but if you keep moving, keep obeying, keep repenting, keep showing up, God honors that. He's not grading you on the size of your dream, but on the size of your obedience. Not on the beauty of your plan, but on your willingness to work the process, one step at a time. So yes, make the plans, set the goals, dream the dreams, but after you write it down, get to work. Start small if you have to. Just start. Because God doesn't bless the resolution. He blesses the result that comes from a heart willing to act in faith. Even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when no one else sees it but Him.